Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Louis and today we're going to be talking about the Comptia A+, more specifically the Core 1. It's the Comptia A+, Core 1 220-1101 exam. I'm going to give you guys some tips and some of the things that I did to pass the exam. And there are many resources out here that you can use, but this was just the resources that I used to pass the exam. First thing I want to say is in the exam objectives, they tell you that you should have about 12 months experience in a desktop support type of role. Now, I passed this exam with no experience at all. A lot of it came down to just studying, preparation, doing my research, and believing that I could get it done. You don't necessarily need 12 months of experience as a desktop support or IT support specialist or whatever. You just need to be able to study at first. Now, if you have the hands-on experience, that would make it a lot more easier to pass the test, right? So first thing first, let's go over what the exam is about, the objectives. So I think we have about 5 objectives. And the first objective is going to be mobile devices, which is about 15% of the exam. The next one is networking, which is 20% of the exam. Hardware, which is 25% of the exam. Virtualization and cloud computing, which is 11% of the exam. And hardware and network troubleshooting, which is 29% of the exam, right? The exam is supposed to be 90 minutes long. I do always recommend that you use the whole 90 minutes if possible, because you want to be able to make sure your work is good. You don't want to rush your work and then later on come to find out that you're falling short of passing your exam. I would say to make sure to check your work. I try to use every second of my time to make sure that all the questions are answered the way I was supposed to be answered. And I try to turn in my exam maybe a minute or two before the clock runs out, right? That's just my advice, right? You'll get no more than 90 questions. It's usually performance-based questions and multiple choice questions. One of the key things that I didn't do it for my first 2 exams, which was the Linux Plus and the Network Plus. But one of the things I started to do was skipping the performance-based questions, because you have the option to flag the performance-based questions. So I'd flag them and then move on to the multiple choice questions, get them done, get them out of the way, then come back and focus on the performance-based questions, because the performance-based questions is going to take time. So you're going to be there for a little minute trying to figure out how to do this, how to do that. You don't want to be stuck on the performance-based questions and then get to the point where you start to feel like you're running out of time. As soon as I press start on the exam, I'm flagging and I'm on to the multiple choice. I come back and now I'm focused. I got 20, 30 minutes or however much minutes to just focus on those performance-based questions. You could take it in person or proctored. I usually do it proctored. I like being at home doing it. And when you're doing it proctored, you're going to be getting watched from a proctor. You got to make sure you follow their rule. You got to make sure that you're not looking at nothing, no cheat sheets, none of that extra stuff. And to me, it's a pretty good experience if you feel better that way. If you feel like you pass tests better when you're in person, then you should go in person, because the ultimate goal is to pass. If being in person works the best for you, you do that. If being at home works the best for you, you do that. Just make sure if you're at home, you use in the bathroom. In person too, I would guess, but at home, make sure you use the bathroom before. Make sure you do all the things that you need that would cause you to have to stop before. The grade that you'll need to pass is going to be a 675 out of 900, which is basically a 75%. And that's not too bad, especially with the other exams like the Network Plus, the Security Plus, and CYSA Plus and stuff like that. You have to pass a lot higher grade. This is a 675 out of 900, which is very doable if you do the studying and you put the time into really understanding the work and really making sure that you do what you're supposed to do, right? Now, to the resources that I have used, right? The resources that I used to pass this exam. First thing, before I even get to that, I want to tell you to make sure that you download the objectives so you know exactly what you're studying. When you get that objective, you're able to study and make sure that you're studying exactly what's going to be there on the exam. Now, it's not limited to what's in the objectives, right? So you might get something thrown in there that you wasn't expecting here and there, but it's not going to be crazy, right? Comptia to me does a good job of telling you exactly what's going to be on the exam and it actually being on the exam, right? That's the first thing you should do before you even start to study. Download the PDF of the objectives. Now, the resources I use there, like I said before in the beginning of the video, there's many resources that you could use, but the resources that I use that really gets to me and I'm able to understand and I've been using for a little while now is Professor Messer on YouTube. The videos are free. He does a real great job of not trying to over teach you things that not going to be on the exam. Like sometimes you're studying for an exam and instead of just focusing on what's going to be on the exam, they're teaching you all kinds of other things, which is not a bad thing, right? But when you're trying to pass an exam, you just need to know what's on the exam. I did his videos. I did ACI Learning, IT Pro TV. It's really good for preparing for exams, and also not just that, you get hands-on labs and practice tests. So I was able to check that out. I didn't use it too much. I checked it out for that exam specifically. I've used it a lot for other exams, but for this exam, I went through it, skimmed through it, and my main focus was like, let me just focus on things that's going to actually help me pass the exam, right? You could do that and get some practice exams and get some practice labs and stuff, right? So you could understand the work more. Now, Jason Dion, he has his own site, but I usually get his content from Udemy. You could go on Udemy. A lot of times they be having sales and stuff. Other than just the training videos, he has a separate bundle thingy or separate thing where he sells about 6 practice exams. You're able to buy those. And once you buy those, you have access to it. And you have about 6 exams. That's one of the things I use a lot. A combination of Professor Messer, Jason Dion, and ACI Learning. I watch the videos about 2-3 times. Sometimes I would watch it going straight down to the last video, and then I would start from the last video all the way up to the first video. But once I watch the videos, I go through the objectives. I try to pick stuff in the objectives and try to just explain it to myself, right? Trying to just make sure that I understand the concepts because on the test, you're gonna have stuff that you don't really 100% remember at that moment, right? You don't remember the full thing, but you see the 4 multiple choice questions, you're able to say, oh, this is for something else. This is for, and then you're able to narrow it down to the last 2. And it's a little bit easier to figure out which one it is, right? Versus you just have no clue and you're just guessing. That's one of the things I do. I study all the materials and then I go back to the objectives to see what it is I know and what I don't know. Now, one of the things that helped me a lot is the practice tests. Don't worry about passing the practice test on your first try. You could fail the practice test real bad. Don't look at it as, oh my gosh, I'm not ready. Even if you fail the practice test, you always able to see the questions that you get wrong. And that's one of the things I like about Jason Dion's practice test is after you take it, it will show you the percentage of how good you did in each domain. And then it also gives you the question that you got wrong and an explanation as to why your answer was wrong or what the right answer was. So you're able to read through it and stuff like, oh, this is what's going on. Do a lot of practice exams. Well, this is from my opinion. If you don't need the practice exams, then that's on you. You do what you got to do to pass. But for me, the practice exams help a lot. That's basically it. I did Professor Messer videos on YouTube, Jason Dion's training material on Udemy, his practice tests and his videos. I did some ACI Learning on IT Pro TV, and that's all I really used, and did a lot of practice tests, and then we knocked it out of the park. I hope that this video was able to help you, and I hope that you are able to pass this Core 1 exam so you could get a step closer to getting your A plus certification. And thank you very much for watching my video. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on your bell notification, and let's pass this exam and get it out of the way and move on to the next one. Thank you guys again, and I'll see you guys in the next video.